Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a voiceover of the two horses, Khal and Dali. I jumped them both on this day, so I thought it'd be interesting to compare the two of them. So first up is Dali. He is a 4-year-old. They're both homebreds, by the way, if you guys don't know these horses. So I've done everything with them myself. Obviously, I've backed them and everything. So Dali is a 4-year-old. He was just backed at Christmas, so he's still very new. He's only jumped probably 4 or 5 times. So yeah, very novice. So first I'm just warming him up. When I warm him up, it's very, very simple. It's very much just getting him nice, soft and relaxed and listening to my leg. I pop in a few circles. He is usually a little bit spooky at different things in the arena, so it's just kind of getting him settled and stuff. As you can see, he's very nice to ride. He's very soft on my hand. He was actually exceptionally good this day. He was really listening to me and soft and relaxed. So I was really, really happy with him. He did a little bit of an extended trot down that long side. He was showing off a little bit. And yeah, it just feels really, really nice. So here, as I changed the rein, I changed the bend. So I used my new inside leg to just push him around push him around my inside leg and get a little bend to the inside. Here I pop into the canter. As you can see, he kind of does a little buck nearly in the transition, but I don't mind a little bit of enthusiasm. There he kind of spooked a little bit at the ducks and sped up, but I just asked him to slow back down and come back into a nice relaxed rhythm. And as you can see, his stride definitely eats up the ground, so it takes a little bit of work to contain the canter, but that'll just come with strength and everything. So now I'm going to have a little canter on the right rein. So again, just working on my transitions, that they're nice and smooth and relaxed, that he comes off my leg quite easily, and then he doesn't rush off in the canter. He is straight away into a nice relaxed rhythm, which I was very happy with here. On the right rein, he can be a little bit stiffer. He doesn't bend quite as easily to the right, which is kind of interesting because when I do his carrot stretches on the ground, he doesn't bend as well to the left. So I'm not sure where that comes from, but it's just something to work on. There I gave and retook the reins. You could kind of see there. That's just to test his contact, to see if I don't have kind of hold his hands with the reins, will he kind of change his rhythm or what? But he was very good. He stayed in a nice rhythm. There he had a little spook at the filler, at the wings, I mean. So I just kept my leg on, kept that inside bend to try and get him to soften his neck, and I just cantered around twice more until he was nice and relaxed. And then I gave him a little reward. I'm kind of talking to him the whole time here. You obviously can't hear because you hear my voice voicing over the video, but I'm always saying good boy and kind of talking to him and chatting away. So then I kind of popped back into trot. Maybe not the best transition. He fought a little bit in the contact, but I'm being extremely picky there saying that. And yeah, I just give him a little pat and we have a little walk around before we start doing the poles. So my plan for this day was to do a triple combination because he's never jumped a double or a triple before. So I had all the poles laid out and I just trotted him down at first. As you can see, he gave a little spook there was some fillers off to the side of the jump, so he just had a little look at that. So that's why it's nice just to trot down at first and to canter down it without any jumps, because there's no point in me rushing him down when there's jumps there and then he might get fright and bang his legs. I have all day. I can trot him over these poles a million times before I go and jump them, so there's no point in me rushing him. So I just pop down it again on the other rein because I'll be coming off it on both sides. Here he offers up the canter, so I just go with it. I'm happy for him to go forward. With the young horses, it's always about going forward. I would be less happy if he was slowing down and backing off the poles. I'm happy for him to take them on. So I come around the canter, going nice and wide, so my turn is nice and smooth and he's quite straight. He finds the strides quite well, except he changes only his front leg over the pole. And I decided to just take it as a little opportunity to learn, and I just held my position and he actually changed his back leg and went onto the correct lead. So I gave him a good little reward there, and it was very good and very balanced of him to do that. So I was very happy. And then I come down in that same rhythm and pop down the poles on the left rein. He's just kind of figuring out his legs there, but he kind of had it together by the end. He did kind of tense against my hand over the last pull, so I just again asked him to just soften his neck, and he relaxed into the contact then. So now we have it as a little jump. So he pops over the first one nicely and then gets his nice one stride. Whatever leg he lands on, I just go with that for the turn, because he's obviously very young. I'm not going to stress him out by trying to ask him for flying changes and putting him onto the wrong leg. Here I put this in, let this in. He was on the right leg, then he had a little spook at the bush, so we went back into trot, and then we went back onto the wrong leg, and then we had to trot again to get onto the right leg. But it's just really important to stay really chilled and just like kind of ask them nice and sensibly, and don't kind of panic. I could have done a circle if I didn't feel like the canter was right, but he popped onto the right leg in the end and he felt nice and balanced, so I kept going to it. But there's no point kind of kicking them and rushing them to get onto the correct lead again, because you have loads of time. So now we put up the second part. It was kind of interesting to see his reaction to it, because he kind of went, ooh, and lifted his head and went quite hollow over the first fence in order to kind of look at the second fence. So it's just kind of learning for them. He's never done 2 fences in a row, so it's kind of hard for him to get all his legs together and figure out what he's meant to be doing in between that small little space. So I came around again and he was a little bit more confident to it this time. Still figuring out his legs though, which will come with time. So it's just really important for me to stay like off his neck, not lean too far forward, stay really balanced, and try and stay as still as I can, which is hard. You know, the young horses are kind of moving backwards and forwards and spooking left and right, and you just have to really stay with them and stay really balanced, so you're not, you know, adding an extra factor for them to think about. You know, you're just kind of, it's as if you're not even there, as if he's just loose schooling down the jumps, because then he learns the most, I think. So again, coming on the other end, here he's a lot more confident. He's starting to give better jumps over the jumps, which is very nice. And again, always rewarding him and giving him lots of pats. So now I think the third part is up, and he handled this really well. He gave a nice little jump and stayed nice and balanced for the last part. Obviously, he's a very big horse, so it's quite hard for him to fit in to those one strides, but he does it quite well, and I'm very, very pleased with him. So then I pop onto the right rein and give it a little go. So coming down here, I was intending for this to be our last jump, but he actually knocks the middle fence. I think it's a combination of tiredness and figuring out his feet. But next week I'm planning on doing more jumping to make him improve his technique, like V-pulls and maybe bounces. So that's what we're going to work on then. For now, it's just getting his confidence and exposing him to kind of new ideas. Well done. You've done the long stride. What a good boy. Whoa.
He got you out of trouble there.
So next up is Khal. Khal is 6 years old, so he's a good bit more experienced than Dali. He jumped lots of 110s last year and ended the year by jumping a 120, so that's kind of the level that he's at. Except he's just coming back into work, so he's about 2 months back into work now, and I'm going to do a grid on him today. So I've obviously done a good bit of trotting before now, and then I'm popping into the canter now. If you guys watched my last video, you'll know that I'm trying to get his neck a little bit longer in the canter and for him to stretch down. So that's why I have quite a loose rein. I'm trying to encourage him to just stretch down and giving him lots of pats and stuff to, just basically get him to relax and lengthen out his neck. Because he can sometimes shorten his neck quite a lot in the canter, and his pull goes very high, and he's not really like working the muscles on his back as well as he could be. So that's what I'm working on there. I suppose I don't really have as much to say about warming up Khal, because it's just kind of going through the motion to warm up his muscles. There's not a huge amount I'm working on. He's quite simple He can sometimes be behind my leg, but that just improves as he gets fitter, and that's kind of it. So now I'm coming to the jump for the first time. The grid is 2 bounces, 1 stride, a vertical, 1 stride, and a vertical, which will then be an oxer. So I just have the first fence up at the moment, so he pops over that very nicely. He's quite excited to be jumping again, so he's quite exuberant in his jumps sometimes. He's very careful and jumping nice and round, which I really, really like. It feels brilliant. The main goal I have with Khal for my own riding is to keep my body up and my leg forward in the air. I have a really, really bad habit of tipping forward just before he takes off, like a fraction too early. I need to really wait for him to come up to me. I think some of this stems from the fact that he can be a little bit backwards, so I'm nearly kind of throwing myself forward to like encourage him to jump, but I need to just wait for him. You can see there one of the chickens nearly kamikazed me and jumped in front of the jump, but stopped just in time, thank goodness. But then it continues on its run, and I nearly run over a second time as I come up this long side. I swear my horses are completely bomb-proof for chickens. So anyway, I had the second part in here, so just the same, coming on both reins, coming in the trot. Also working on not turning too early, because I used to do that all the time, but I'm a lot better at it now. So turning nice and late so that I'm really, really straight when I'm coming to the jump. So now we have the third part up, which is a nice little vertical. So really just more of the same. Just trying to stay really still. There he completely jumped me out of the saddle, and it was so hard to stay strong in my core, but I managed to hold myself up. Yeah, he's just really excited to be jumping. So basically I'm just trying to kind of keep his technique sharp, practice shortening his stride. He can have very long canter strides, so it's good for him to learn to jump from deep strides. Although he's gotten very good at it now. It's just more just keeping him on top of things and keeping him getting stronger and stuff. He used to not be very good at jumping from short strides. He used to like the long strides, but now he's very good at it. So now we have the last part up, and he has a fun little play around after this jump, which we'll see. He loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does.
Next we go. So it's just really nice to see him really enjoying the work and stuff. There, my dad kind of missed the first part of that grid, but he jumped through it nicely. So then I just do it twice more, this time with an oxer at the end. There's really not much point in pushing him to jump really big or anything. He's only back in work not that long, so it was more just to kind of get him back into the swing of like proper jumping, like doing grid work. The plan is to go to a show next weekend, jump the 110, just one class, to keep it nice and simple. So that was my last jump, and I just kept him cantering forward and then trotted him off, because he can be kind of the horse. He can tend to just stop after the jump because he knows he's done. He's very lazy. He just wants to just like stop, like stand still, like halt is his favorite gait. But that's why I like to just keep him moving so he doesn't get into the habit of just stopping after he jumps. And I do my nice little trotting off. He's really, really good at working long and low after we ride. And it's really, really beneficial for them. It stretches out all their back, it works their top line, and it keeps him nice and supple for the next ride, so he's not stiff or tight anywhere. So yeah, as I was saying, the plan is to start bringing him to shows. So he's going to do the 110 next weekend. Unfortunately, with the coronavirus, like all the shows have been cancelled, all the registered shows, but a lot of the venues are still doing unregistered shows. So I think we'll pop down. Show jumping is a pretty isolated sport. I mean, I just go with my dad and we get on the horse and I'm not really in contact with people, and then I jump my round and we leave. So hopefully we should be all good. But yeah, just going to do a few rounds, and then the plan for the summer is that there is a young horse tour and to jump the 6-year-olds, which is 110 to 125, which is perfect because that's just the height that he is at the moment. So we should be flying for that. And I'm also going to bring Dali to those shows. The 4-year-olds jump like 80, 90, and I think the final is like about a meter or something. So it's really small, really nice just to introduce them to show jumping and the competition world. So that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Make sure to like, subscribe and comment. See you guys.